You turn on your AC, and there it is, that musty, damp, wet gym sock smell that fills the whole car for the first 30 seconds. You've probably cracked a window, sprayed an air freshener, maybe just learned to live with it. But here's what nobody tells you. That smell isn't just gross, it's mold. Actual mold and mildew growing inside your car's air system, and every time you turn on the AC, you and everyone in the car are breathing it in. The good news, you can kill it in about 5 minutes for a few bucks, and I'm going to show you exactly how, plus the one simple habit that stops it from ever coming back. Real quick before we start, tap subscribe. This is where I hand you the money-saving car fixes, shops, hope you never learn, and it takes 1 second. Now let's get into it. Here's my promise. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why your car smells like that, the 5-minute fix that wipes it out, and the little end of drive habit that keeps it gone for good. And that habit at the end is the real secret. It's the reason some cars never smell musty at all, and it costs you nothing. Most people do the exact opposite without realizing it, and that's what grows the mold in the first place. So stick with me for that. Let me explain what's actually happening, because once you understand it, everything else makes sense. Deep inside your dashboard, there's a part called the evaporator. Think of it as the cold core of your air conditioning. It's the thing that actually chills the air before it comes out your vents. Now here's the problem. When your AC runs, that evaporator gets very cold. And cold metal in warm, humid air does exactly what a glass of iced tea does on a summer day. It sweats, it gets covered in moisture, in condensation. That's totally normal. It's why you see that little puddle of water under your car after you've been running the AC. That's just the evaporator draining off its condensation. But think about where that evaporator lives. It's buried deep in your dash in a dark, sealed, damp little box with no sunlight and not much airflow when the car's off. Warm, dark, and constantly wet. And if I described a place like that to you and asked what grows there, you'd say mold. And you'd be right. Every bit of dust, pollen, and grime that gets pulled through your vents settles on that wet evaporator, and it becomes food for mold and mildew. They set up shop and multiply. Then you start your car, turn on the AC, and that first blast of air blows right across all that mold and pushes the smell and the spores straight into your face. That's the musty smell. That's what it is. And here's the part that should bug you a little. This isn't just about your nose. If anyone in your family gets stuffy, sneezy, or headache in the car and feels better once they're out, that mold could be why. You're not imagining the smell, and you're not imagining feeling lousy, so let's get rid of it for real, not just cover it up with a cardboard tree hanging off your mirror. Before we get into the fixes, do me a quick favor. If your car does this, if you know exactly the smell I'm talking about, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this reach more people driving around, breathing the same stuff. And drop a comment telling me your car's make and model and how bad the smell is mild, or knock you over strong. I read every one. Now, let's kill it, starting with the easiest thing. Fix number 1, and this is the first thing to check because it's cheap and quick, your cabin air filter. This is a filter tucked behind your glove box on most cars, and its whole job is to clean the air coming through your vents. Here's why it matters for the smell. That filter catches all the dust, leaves, pollen, and gunk before it gets into the system, and over time it gets packed full of that damp, decaying debris. A filter that's been in there for years, soaking up moisture and trapping dead leaves, can start smelling musty all on its own. And even if the filter itself isn't the main source, a clogged one chokes your airflow and keeps the system damp, which helps the mold thrive. So pop it out and look at it. On most cars, you open the glove box, squeeze the sides so it drops all the way down, and there's a little panel behind it. Pull the filter out. If it's gray, packed with debris, or smells bad when you sniff it, and I know that's not pleasant, but it tells you everything, replace it. A new one is 10 or 15 bucks and takes about 2 minutes with no tools. Honestly, a lot of people have never changed theirs once, and just doing this makes a real dent in the smell. But if the smell is really set in, the filter alone won't finish the job, which brings us to the fix that actually kills the mold at the source. Fix number 2, this is the hero. The 5-minute fix I promised you, an evaporator cleaner. Since the mold is living on that evaporator deep in your dash, you have to get a cleaner to it, and there's a product made for exactly this. It usually comes as an aerosol foam or a spray with a little tube, and it's often called an AC evaporator cleaner or an AC system disinfectant. You'll find it at any parts store for around $10. What it does is coat that evaporator, kill the mold and bacteria living on it, and rinse the gunk down the drain. This is the step that treats the actual cause instead of just masking it. Now, there are 2 ways these cleaners work, and you just follow the directions on the can you buy, but let me tell you the general idea so it makes sense. The first type, you spray into your fresh air intake. That's the vent slot at the base of your windshield, usually on the passenger side where the car pulls outside air in. You run the fan so it sucks the cleaner in and pulls it right across the evaporator. The second type, you spray directly into the vents or into that intake with the AC and fan running so it circulates. Either way, you typically run the system on recirculate with the fan going for the amount of time the can says, usually just a few minutes, let it do its work, then air the car out. That's it. 5 minutes of actual effort, $10, and you've hit the mold where it actually lives. For most cars with a musty smell, the cabin filter plus this evaporator cleaner knocks it out completely. Quick pause if you're already planning a trip to the parts store. Tap that like button. It tells me these fixes are landing. And here's a rehook for you. Even after you kill the mold, it will come right back within weeks if you keep doing the one thing most drivers do every single time they park. I'll get to that habit in just a minute, and it's the whole game. But first, there's one more thing worth checking, because sometimes the smell comes with a wet surprise. Fix number 3, check your evaporator drain. Remember that condensation the evaporator makes the water that's supposed to drip out under your car? It drains out through a little tube or hose that runs from the evaporator box down through the floor and out the bottom of the car. And that little drain can get clogged with dirt, debris, even mold itself. When it clogs, the water has nowhere to go, so it backs up and pools inside that evaporator box instead of draining out. Now you've got standing water sitting in your dash, which is a 5-star resort for mold, and a much stronger, wetter smell. Here's how you spot it. After running your AC for a while on a warm day, look under the car where you've been parked. You should see a small puddle of clear water. That's the drain working perfectly. Nothing to worry about. That's just condensation. But if it's bone dry under there, or worse, if you notice a damp spot or wet carpet on your front passenger floor, your drain is likely clogged and backing up. Clearing it is often simple. The drain tube usually hangs down under the car near the firewall, and you can gently clear it with a wire or a shot of compressed air to push the clog out. If you're not comfortable finding it, this is a quick, cheap thing for a shop to clear, but knowing it's the problem means you won't let anyone talk you into a big, expensive job for it. All right, you made it. And here's the payoff I promised. The one habit that stops the smell from ever coming back. This is the secret, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Remember, mold needs that evaporator to be wet and dark. So the trick is simple. Dry it out before you park. Here's how you do it. A few minutes before you reach your destination, say, the last 2 to 5 minutes of your drive, turn your AC compressor off, but leave the fan running on fresh air, not recirculate. What that does is keep air blowing across the evaporator without making it cold anymore, so it dries out that condensation before you shut the car off. A dry evaporator can't grow mold. That's the whole thing. And here's why I said most people do the exact opposite. Most drivers blast the AC right up until the second they turn the car off, then walk away. So that evaporator is left soaking wet, sealed, in a dark, warm box for hours, which is exactly the environment mold loves. You've been unknowingly growing it every single time you park. Flip that habit AC off, fan on for the last couple minutes, and you starve the mold of the one thing it needs. Do that, and after you've cleaned it out once, you may never smell it again. Some newer cars actually have a afterblow feature that does this automatically. If yours doesn't, you just do it yourself, and it becomes second nature fast. Let me give you the full game plan so it all sticks. Step 1, check and replace that cabin air filter if it's dirty, cheap, and quick. Step 2, hit the evaporator with an evaporator cleaner to kill the mold at the source. That's your 5-minute fix. Step 3, make sure your AC drain is clear so water isn't pooling in your dash. And then step 4, the forever fix. For the last couple minutes of every drive, turn the AC off and leave the fan running to dry that evaporator out before you park. Do those 4 things and you go from a car that smells like a damp basement to one that smells like nothing at all, which is exactly how it should smell. Now let me be straight with you, because I always will be. For the vast majority of musty cars, what I just gave you completely solves it. But if you've done all of it and the smell is still strong, a couple of things could be going on. It might be that the mold is deep and needs a more thorough professional cleaning where a shop can get better access to the evaporator, or, and this happens, the smell isn't the AC at all. If your carpets ever got soaked from a spill, a leaky sunroof drain, or that clogged AC drain we talked about, the padding underneath can hold moisture and grow mold of its own. So if a clean evaporator doesn't fix it, check whether your carpet or floor mats are damp, because that's a different source with a different fix. Match the fix to the actual cause like always. And one last honest tip that saves you money, skip the gimmicks. Those little hanging trees and spray and pray air fresheners don't kill anything. They just pile a fake pine smell on top of the mold and you end up breathing both. The real fix is cheap and it's exactly what we covered. Clean the source, clear the drain, and dry it out. That's how the pros do it, and now so do you. So let's bring it home. That musty AC smell is mold growing on your wet evaporator and you're breathing it every time you drive. Kill it with a fresh cabin filter and a $10 evaporator cleaner. Make sure your drain isn't clogged, and then keep it gone forever with the simple habit of drying the evaporator out, AC off, fan on for the last couple minutes before you park. Cheap, fast, and it works. Your car should smell like nothing, and now you know how to get it there. Before you go, hit that like button. If this finally explained that smell you've been fighting, it truly helps this reach more drivers breathing the same stuff. And drop me 2 things in the comments. First, after you clean it out, come back and tell me, did the smell actually disappear? I love hearing it worked. Second, what do you want next? Should I show you how to fix an AC that blows warm no matter what, or the fastest way to defog your windshield in seconds? You tell me, I'll make it. And subscribe, because I've got a whole garage full of these coming, the cheap fixes, the honest tips, and the truth the dealership will never tell you. Thanks for trusting me, and thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next one.